Alzheimer's can hack away at your brain for 20 plus years before any symptoms show. In this video, to help you or a loved one stay on the proactive end of things, I'm going to share the 7 stages of Alzheimer's to help you understand the symptoms and what to look out for, because stage 1 can last decades. In case you're new, I'm Cyn Meyer, a life coach for older adults and the founder of Second Wind Movement, which is a resource for older adults who are striving to live an active, healthy, and engaged retirement lifestyle. Maintaining your cognitive health is a big foundational part of thriving in retirement. Yet the stats are telling us that there's a lot of room to be more proactive. In the US alone, a staggering 12.7 million people over the age of 65 are projected to have Alzheimer's by 2050, and then the number jumps to 13.8 million by 2060. What's more, 1 in 3 sadly passes with Alzheimer's or another dementia. In this video, I'm not sharing these stats to depress you, but rather to alert you to the importance of being proactive and learning more about the rampant disease. It makes a tremendous difference for both you and your loved ones. To help you better prepare for the future, let's dive into the 7 stages of Alzheimer's, each of which can last anywhere from a few months to several years. Starting with number 1. No impairment. The first stage often goes undetected because there aren't any noticeable symptoms. There are several diagnostic tools that your doctor can use to determine if you're at risk for Alzheimer's disease before any symptoms occur, which is a huge benefit given that the disease can hack away at your brain over 20 years, and some places claim longer before any symptoms develop. One way is through family history, but some biomarkers can indicate potential risk as well. The condition has long been associated with various factors, from genetics and lifestyle choices to age-related changes in the brain chemistry. And when you consider the fact that Alzheimer's affects more than 1 in 9 people in the US, and that number is only projected to grow, and that it touches 1 in 3 at the end of life, it's worth getting tested even if you don't have any symptoms. This is still considered a proactive measure where you can do things to help curb the impact of Alzheimer's so that it's not as horrendous down the road. Stage 2, very mild decline. Stage 2 is where you might not notice anything amiss in behavior, and you're certainly independent and you're functioning with your activities of daily living, your ADLs, but you and your loved ones might be picking up on some minor nuances that even a doctor doesn't catch. For instance, maybe you'll notice questions arising that sound something like, where did I forget my ID? What was the name of that thing? Where are my keys? Nothing totally out of the ordinary that we all haven't forgotten before, especially when we're in a state of stress or overwhelm. But basically, at this stage of Alzheimer's disease, the subtle symptoms don't interfere with the ability to work and live independently, nor do they cause alarm. It's more of a noticeable slight inconvenience. Stage number 3 is mild decline. At this stage, you may begin to notice small behavioral changes. It's still not a cause for alarm because these changes can still be associated with normal aging and forgetfulness. The first noticeable aspect are memory issues, where it's harder to remember people's names. You may have trouble remembering the name of someone who just introduced themselves or what they do for work. And it's not just the typical because you focus on what you were going to say next during an introduction and you're not a great listener. It's generally more of a need to ask the same question repeatedly, even as you put in effort to focus and remember it in the short term. Someone in this stage might also experience other symptoms like forgetting plans that they made shortly before, or losing valuables like a wallet or a credit card, or not finding keys where you normally place them. And note that there's a significant difference between where did I put my keys and why are my keys in the fridge. So we're looking for signs of behaviors that are out of the ordinary. These are the hints that something more severe than normal forgetfulness could be going on, especially if they persist over time. Stage 4, moderate decline. Stage 4 is considered the first stage of actual dementia, which starts to impact functionality. It goes beyond memory loss and decrease in mental endurance, which are part of the normal aging process. And just to be clear, things like memory loss and a decrease in your mental endurance are a part of the normal aging process. Here's a snapshot of the signs of normal aging so that you can spot the difference between normal aging versus signs of dementia. Research has found that by the time people with Alzheimer's disease reach this 4th stage, their impairments become more apparent and easier to distinguish from normal aging. Another big sign that something out of the ordinary is persisting is with moderate dementia, personality changes might start to happen. And a person in this phase might need more help caring for themselves, like with performing ADLs. And some people with early stage Alzheimer's disease have difficulty understanding and doing simple things like arithmetic. They may forget details about their past or even how to order or cook food. One of the more challenging and confusing stages for caretakers is when a loved one has early stage dementia. The person with this type of cognitive decline may still be independent in some aspects, like dressing themselves or driving their car, but they can't do other habitual things as easily anymore, like cooking dinner or ordering from a menu. To curb this initial frustration, we encourage you to try to make them feel safe and to keep the person active and moving, like carry on conversations about their favorite music, play games with the family members, go outside every day. It's also worth mentioning that at this stage, an Alzheimer's patient may need counseling to help them cope with their condition. Like with any condition, the more proactive, the better. Stage 5 is moderately severe decline. At stage 5, your loved one might start to feel like they're living in a fog, like their days have blurred together. For people with dementia, the passage of time can be challenging to keep track of. They often have a hard time remembering what day, month, or year it is, which you can imagine may make someone feel totally lost and confused. You may also start to notice that clothing starts to be mismatched for the current season, or the person is forgetting simple details that are stored in their long-term memory, like a phone number or their home address. These mistakes happen when there's stress and also when day-to-day activities take up all of your brain power, which spreads your brain energy thin. So stress reduction is going to be key here. Amid all the stress of Alzheimer's, a wonderful thing that you can focus on is remembering what brings you and your loved ones together. When someone wants something done endlessly, indulge in that wish until they're tired of it. Like if there's an old dish that they love from childhood, you can cook up some nostalgia too. As serious as the topic may be, seriousness isn't going to help anyone through these trying times. So laughter and silliness can help curb some of that stress. Stage 6 is severe decline. As Alzheimer's progresses, your loved one might recognize faces but forget their names. Or they'll mistake a person for someone else, like they're thinking like their husband is their son. And delusions like thinking they need to go to work or pick up their kids when in fact they've retired years ago might also happen. So at this point, you'll likely find that the person needing basic help with ADL tasks will need help going to the bathroom from time to time. In stage 6, it's worth trying to connect with Alzheimer's patients through senses. A lot of people are comforted by using music therapy or stories to read out loud. Anything that triggers emotional memory from happier, more vibrant times is going to be super helpful. And emotional memory is among the last to go, and music is a great gateway to those great memories. Even at this late stage, looking over old photos that bring up emotional memories of happier times will hopefully remind both of you of just how special your relationship is. Stage 7 is very severe decline. With the final stage of Alzheimer's, communication and even essential bodily functions become super difficult. Basically, in this stage, all ADLs need to be taken care of by other caregivers. The difficulty in watching someone that you love slowly forget who they are can be hard to bear. And I can only imagine the frustration of being the person who's touched by Alzheimer's and how frustrating and confusing that experience must be. As if that's not bad enough, when your loved one has lost their memory, it may seem as if the relationship is fading too. There are still a couple of things that you can do to improve the quality of life. One of which is to continue to include them in family activities and events as much as you can. And the other is to encourage creativity, be it visual art, music, dance, or even just clapping. A wide range of creativity can still spark a positive experience for someone with Alzheimer's, with effects that last even days after the creative experience. In fact, according to Dr. Barbara Began, a certified arts therapist, various art activities, painting, drawing, music, movement and dance, poetry, or drama are offered for pleasure, relaxation, and socialization, as well as a variety of treatment goals like reduced boredom, enhanced morale, and even improved cognition. Alzheimer's is the disease of our time that most people fear as we age, and it affects everyone differently, especially when you consider the fact that the progression between stages of Alzheimer's is not linear. Some caregivers report their loved one seems to be in 2 stages at once, while others stagnate for years before progressing at a rapid rate without any warning signs. So it's different for everyone. To recap the 7 stages of Alzheimer's, stage number 1 is no impairment, where there's no noticeable symptoms, which is the crazy part because this can carry on for decades. Stage 2 is very mild decline, still independent, but slightly noticeable forgetfulness that's out of the ordinary. Stage 3 is mild decline, where you start to notice small behavioral changes related to memory issues. Stage 4 is moderate decline, where you can distinguish between symptoms of normal aging and dementias, and the personality starts to change. Stage 5 is moderately severe decline, confusion, fogginess, and frustrations, and also needing help with ADLs. Stage 6, severe decline, definitely needing help with ADLs and needing extra help supporting emotional memory. And stage 7, very severe decline. They need help with all ADLs and a full-time caregiver. No matter what stage of Alzheimer's, being proactive in knowing what to expect from each stage and getting help from a support team and loved ones make it smoother for both the person who lives with Alzheimer's and those close to them. Thank you so much for being here and for being proactive in learning about the stages of Alzheimer's. It's a horrible disease that's on the rise. But collectively, we can educate one another and share tools and research that will help flatten the curve on this rampant disease that impacts so many people and their loved ones. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment on our video. It helps us do our job better of providing helpful content for this very important audience of older adults who are striving to be their best. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.